Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's kick off today's video with a story where a power-tripping manager tries to shake down an employee for a bogus doctor's note and ends up lighting thousands of corporate dollars on fire instead. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Manager enforced a policy that didn't exist. I helped write the real one. At my old job, our manager, let's call her Mary, had a habit of enforcing rules that weren't actually part of our collective agreement. Her personal favorite, demanding a sick note from your doctor no matter how short your absence was. Now that might sound like a minor inconvenience, but at my GP's office, a sick note costs $50. It's not the end of the world for someone who's genuinely ill, but when you're dealing with a multi-million-dollar company, it starts to feel a little off, especially when that company refuses to pay for the documentation they demand. One day I had a flu bug hit me hard, so I called in sick. Not a huge deal, right? I'd taken one day, just the one. But like clockwork, Mary called me around 10 a.m. demanding I provide a doctor's note. Coincidentally, I was already at my doctor's office when she called. I explained I could get the note, but neither of my company credit cards, one for internal purchases like tools and supplies, and another for client billable expenses, would work at the clinic. Their payment system wouldn't accept them. So I called Mary back. Me. My company credit cards aren't working at the clinic. They don't accept them. Mary. Just use your personal card and submit it on an expense report. Me. No, I'm not here to lend money to a multi-million-dollar company. Mary. Fine, then use mine. I put the clinic receptionist on the phone, who quickly explained they couldn't process credit cards over the phone for privacy and fraud reasons. Mary, then you won't be paid for today. Me, send that in writing, please. And she did. She emailed me officially stating I wouldn't be paid for my sick day since I couldn't produce a doctor's note. Me, an email reply, I'll need a union day to file a grievance. You're refusing to pay me for 1 day of illness, which is a direct violation of our collective agreement. There's nothing in it that requires a note unless the absence is 3 consecutive days or more. I'll also need a second union rep assigned since I can't represent myself in this case. Under our agreement, union days to handle grievances can't be denied unless there's a genuine emergency, floods, fires, that kind of thing. Not we're short-staffed or Mary's in a mood. Mary called me almost immediately. Mary, fine, you'll be paid for today. Me. No, the violation has already occurred and I filed the grievance. We're proceeding. Mary, but... Me. My union rep will be in touch. And they were. What followed was beautiful, malicious compliance. For the 8 hours of pay I was originally denied, the company had to burn 20 hours of internal unbillable labor. That included myself and another union rep spending 4 hours each preparing, 2 hours each traveling, and another 4 hours each presenting the grievance. All time paid by the company and none of it chargeable to any client, all because Mary wanted to play HR cop on a rule that didn't even exist. We won the grievance at stage 1. Not only was I paid for my sick day, but the company also took a financial hit because Mary insisted on enforcing her own made-up policy, trying to claim it fell under management rights. And then came the best part. During our grievance hearing, Mary claimed quite confidently that the clause in the collective agreement about sick notes was open to interpretation and that her reading was correct even though I was literally the union rep who helped negotiate that clause. She doubled down. Me, flip to the last page of the PDF copy of the agreement. She did. Me, who signed the contract? Mary, VP of HR, National Union Rep, VP of Operations, Matthew, and you, VP of Union Accreditation. Me. So let me get this straight. You're telling me the person who helped write and negotiate this contract over 3 renewal cycles, that you, who weren't even present during negotiations, understand it better than I do? Mary, tight-lipped, this meeting's over. You'll receive my formal response within 7 days. Me. Actually, per Section 8, subsection C of the grievance process, you have 3 business days to respond. I'd hate to have to file another grievance for non-compliance. Her expression could have curdled milk. The company eventually began instructing managers to consult HR before making demands about sick leave documentation. Mary never again asked me or anyone else to my knowledge for a sick note after a 1-day absence. I always loved when management wanted to dig themselves into a hole. They never use a shovel. They always seem to go with the damn heavy equipment and forget to hire a qualified operator. And our second story. Passenger demanded I bring her a wheelchair. So I work at a fast food place within the airport. I don't work for the airport at all. I don't know anything about the amenities and accommodations or anything else besides chicken sandwiches. But somehow, between my uniform and my resting bee face, I always get approached by passengers asking me crap about the airport that I don't get paid enough to know in the first place. The first incident is when I just clocked in and was on my way to TSA when a passenger stopped me to inquire about car rentals. I told her, quite annoyed actually, because I need to go through TSA before the lines get longer, that I don't have a clue. But if she goes to guest services, they can help her. Not good enough. She held me against my will until I gave her a random direction. That's when I realized I have to be rude to these people. The same for people looking for TSA or the exit. All they had to do is read the effing signs. Anyway, earlier one morning I was getting coffee from a kiosk when a bunch of passengers were deplaning. An elderly lady stopped me and demanded to know why I didn't bring a wheelchair with me when I knew she needed assistance getting around. I looked nowhere near an airport worker, much less a passenger assistant. I pointed at the actual assistant wheeling the chair from the gate the lady just walked out from. Like, how the F did she walk clean past an actual airport worker with a wheelchair, looked at a girl wearing a fast food uniform getting coffee from a kiosk and go, "Yep, she's my personal assistant." Another time is when I was going back in from break. The entrance door to the back of house happened to be next to the elevator that leads to the VIP lounge upstairs. As I was punching in the passcode, a passenger stopped me to ask about the menu for the lounge. I told him that I don't know, which annoyed him, and he pulled the "don't you work here" card. Nah, F that. I got smart with him. I told him that unless he wants chicken sandwiches from a homophobic chicken sandwich place, I can't help him. But to also try our food, since I heard it's way better and affordable than whatever they served upstairs. I went inside before he could say anything else. I could go on, but it'll be a long post. Edit. For those of you who are wondering how car rental lady held me against my will, she kept blocking me so I couldn't go around her. And as for elevator guy, I was polite, but all that went out the window as soon as he raised his voice at me like I owe him money or something. Also, and I don't know why I forgot to mention this, but elevator guy must have taken my advice because he ended up waiting in line to order. So I guess I was right about the food served in the VIP lounge being mediocre for its prices. And our last story. Built a house on my land? Guess what? Now it's my new hotel. I'd been trying to get back to my lakeside lot for 7 straight years, ever since Chrysler bumped me up to the night shift line supervisor seat. I remembered every inch of that property, long and noodle thin, boundaries that zigged like bad handwriting, tall pines draped in wild grapevines, and a footpath that ended in cattails before slipping right into the water. Back in the 60s, you'd reached it by rattling down a dirt switchback. So imagine my whiplash in July 1976 when I slammed the brakes on my Plymouth Duster. Dead ahead lay a perfect rectangle of cobblestone, yellow, brown, Roman-looking blocks glinting in the sun like an Italian piazza had crash-landed in rural Michigan. "Nice driveway," I muttered out the window, but who paid for the upgrade? I grabbed my red duffel of fishing gear, hiked in to make sure memory wasn't playing tricks, and at 100 yards, the stone looped into a neat turnaround in front of a brand new 2-story house. 50 steps from the lake, floor-to-ceiling glass, cedar porch, a hammock swaying as if daring me to climb in. I pressed a palm to a pine trunk and whispered, "Buddy, either you never bought this land or you just woke up in a universe where deeds turn into folklore." First stop, Wolf Lake, the nearest town. The law office, Doyle & Sons, big ampersand on the awning, was manned by a fella skinnier than an underfed pretzel sporting a mustard-colored blazer. "I'm Mr. Doyle," he trilled like an antique phone. "What can I do for you?" I laid out my saga. Doyle ran his fingers around my yellow deed, held it to the light, even sniffed it like a sommelier. "Seen worse," he said. "Step 1's a survey. Then we'll see whose toes got stepped on." "And meanwhile?" I asked. "Meanwhile, don't go swinging a 3/4-inch wrench no matter how itchy your palms get," he winked. A week later, 3 surveyors in bright leather vests set up tripods, sighted angles, and spray-painted stakes neon orange. I shadowed them with a thermos of coffee until I finally blurted, "Guys, straight talk. Does the house sit on my dirt?" "Mr. Brown," the lead man said, "that building's planted squarely on your parcel, and this fancy stone driveway starts on it and runs a good 60 feet inside. Whoever built it confused private with really private." Armed with a fresh plat, I drove up to Lakeview Retreat to introduce myself. A tanned guy in a gaudy Hawaiian shirt and Bermuda shorts opened the door, beach shovel in hand like he'd just sculpted a sandcastle. "Can I help you?" he sang. "I'm Bill Brown, owner of this land," I said. "Looks like you put a mansion in my backyard." His smile twitched, then returned. "Oh, that must be a mix-up. I bought a lot here last spring. Paperwork's in transit, but my broker's rock solid." "I'd say our definitions of rock solid differ," I answered, flashing my 1969 county stamp deed and the new survey. "You didn't just tread on my grass, you parallel parked in my living room." The color drained from his shirt. "Look, how about a deal? I could, deed you the backyard, keep the house. You haven't used this plot in years." "Nope, either you move the whole retreat off my line or I file suit." "Court?" He laughed nervously. "That'll drag on for years. You're a working man. Time is money." "Exactly. So save my time. Tomorrow I expect your voluntary demolition plan." I turned for the door. "Wait," he yelped. "Brown, let's not bring lawyers and chainsaws. Buy the place. I'll let it go for the cost of lumber, nails, and paint. I just want out clean." The figure he named equaled 3 months of my Chrysler pay, like paying Pinto money and driving off in a Mustang. I inhaled so my voice wouldn't crack from pure glee. "Deal," I said, shaking his hand. "We'll close in town today." In Doyle's office, I learned his name was Greg. He signed every sheet like it was a molar being yanked. The lawyer droned, recorded, $53,000 even, representing material costs only, labor excluded. House conveys to Mr. Brown. "The driveway?" He stared at Greg. "The driveway," Greg sighed. "It's his too." Outside, he tried a joke. "Hope you appreciate quality stone. That's Italian cobble, trucked in via Chicago." "I appreciate anything I didn't have to pay for twice," I said, smiling. September 1977, Saturday. A Chevy Bel Air and a VW Westphalia are already packed on that cobblestone. I'm on the porch signing a check for the latest renters. Nice family, down from Chicago. Kids race between the pines, laughing. The reborn Lakeview Retreat bills itself in brochures as the perfect escape from the city. The irony's rich. First, the road escaped me, then the house escaped to me. One evening, the phone rang. A raspy voice said, "It's Greg, remember? How's your place holding up?" "Solid as ever," I replied. "Driveway hasn't sunk an inch." "Yeah. Hey, think maybe I could book a weekend sometime? Nostalgia, you know." I nearly snorted. "No problem. Rates are the same for everyone." "Even for the guy who laid the stone?" He chuckled weakly. "Especially for him," I answered, quoting the full price with no discount. So here I sit on that porch, tallying the lessons this fiasco taught me. 1, keep every scrap of paperwork, even if it yellows faster than sun-scorched grass. 2, if a strange house pops up on your land, don't grab the sledgehammer. First, calculate how much income it'll earn once it's yours. 3, the shortest road to profit is sometimes paved with someone else's mistakes. And 4, maybe most important, never underestimate a good driveway. Folks will pay triple just to keep their Bel Air out of the mud. I pour another cup from the thermos and watch the lake catch the pink evening sky. That driveway no longer feels like an invasion. It's a golden carpet leading to my business. The whole fairy tale started because someone wanted to live fancy without checking the lines. Honestly, I'm grateful. Greg gave me a crash course in entrepreneurship. Maybe I'll mail him a postcard. A photo of the house, the caption, "Thanks for helping launch my resort. Drop by if you ever feel like laying more stone." I think this man went to build himself a new house, and it'll be a land of a completely different person again. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.